Wondering how the life of the other Wayans brother turned out? Let's explore the lifestyle and success of Shawn Wayans. Shawn was born on January 19, 1971, in New York City. He was born as the ninth of 10 siblings to his mother Elvira, a social worker, and his father Howell, who was a manager at a grocery store. Although his parents worked regular jobs, their children would be the ones to ultimately make the Wayans family name, including famous brothers Keenen Ivory, Damon, Marlon, and sisters Kim and Elvira. From a young age, they were all interested in participating in the entertainment industry, and one child's desires seemed to rub off on the rest of them as they grew up together. When Shawn was 18, his older brother Keenen was already working on a lot of films. One of those films happened to be Gonna Get You Sucka, and Shawn wanted a chance to get in on the industry and took a chance by asking his brother to be on the film. Keenen agreed, and later that year Shawn made his acting debut in his brother's film. Despite the fact that he was an incredibly talented actor, it was ultimately a little bit of nepotism that nudged Shawn into the Hollywood spotlight and gave him the chance he needed to get his start. After this, Shawn's career began to take off, and he got the chance to act with his brother in the Emmy Award-winning show In Living Color, a show also created by their older brother Keenen. The show launched the careers of many talented performers, including Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx. Following the success of In Living Color, Shawn transitioned to the big screen, collaborating with his brothers on a series of successful comedy films. But not before they created the show that solidified their name in comedy pop culture, The Wayans Bros, a show to highlight not only their comedic chemistry, but also how their brotherly bond could be used to drive their creativity. Together they wrote and starred in Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, a parody of popular hood films of the 1990s. Shawn's breakout film role came with the wildly successful horror comedy Scary Movie, 2000, which he co-wrote, produced, and starred in alongside brother Marlon. A parody of popular horror films of the time, Scary Movie was a box office hit and spawned multiple sequels. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell to never miss out on a chance to intimately explore the lives of all your favorite Black Hollywood stars. When people ask about how Shawn utilized nepotism to get his big shot in the industry, he responds, "Yeah, we do nepotism. It's about family." His brother Marlon responds, annoyed, by explaining that it shouldn't be wrong to want to look out for your family. A lot of people use nepotism accusations to try and detract their reputation for being comedic and entertaining. Despite their advantages, it was ultimately their own talent, knowledge, and acceptance from audiences that catapulted them into stardom. Nepotism or not. The collaboration between Shawn and Marlon Wayans likely evolved naturally over time, stemming from their shared upbringing in a creative and comedic family. The Wayans family, including siblings Keenen Ivory, Damon, Kim, Shawn, and Marlon, was heavily involved in entertainment from a young age, so it came naturally to them. Growing up in this environment, Shawn and Marlon would have likely been exposed to comedy and entertainment from an early age, developing a shared passion for it. As they got older and pursued careers in the industry, it's not surprising that they would choose to collaborate given their shared interests, talents, and comedic sensibilities. Their collaboration may have formally started with smaller projects or performances together, gradually leading to larger-scale collaborations such as writing and starring in films and television shows. Over time, they discovered that they had a strong creative synergy and enjoyed working together, which encouraged further collaboration. Ultimately, their decision to collaborate would have been driven by their mutual respect, creative chemistry, and shared desire to entertain audiences with their unique brand of comedy. The greatest driver, of course, was their familial bond. In an interview, Marlon claimed that one of the reasons Shawn got into acting at all was because he knew that was the way his brothers understood how to look out for each other and each other's futures. They gave each other the chances that they felt, especially as black men trying to make comedy in Hollywood. They would be refused on the outside. Part of the reason they were able to be so successful at all is because of the Wayans brothers formula. Notice how most of the films they were in were directed, produced, and created by other Wayans brothers? This is because when they needed an opportunity, they created one for themselves by controlling the means of creation, instead of depending on Hollywood creating room for them to do what they needed to do. Independent projects like these are usually deemed unmarketable and not likely to succeed. Most funding institutions would have rejected them, but because they had their own resources, they decided for themselves what kind of media they wanted to create. They carved a space for themselves in the lucrative film and entertainment industry, which at the time was a little less discriminatory to smaller projects, especially if audiences loved it anyway. Marlon continued to say, "I wouldn't exist without my brothers, because the insane resources they were provided with were the kind most beginner artists could only dream of. If a Wayan brother is on it, there's a very high chance that it was also written, directed, and produced by a Wayan brother." Throughout his career, Shawn has continued to showcase his comedic talent through a variety of roles in film and television. From starring in comedies such as White Chicks, 2004, to lending his voice to animated series like The Boondocks, he has consistently entertained audiences with his unique brand of humor. Shawn is also a talented writer and producer, having been trained by his brother Keenan and contributed to various film and television projects. He has collaborated with his brothers on several successful ventures, including the parody film Little Man. In recent years, Shawn has continued to pursue creative projects while maintaining a relatively low profile. While he may not be as visible in the spotlight as he once was, his contributions to comedy and entertainment continue to resonate with audiences around the world. His last film role was in 2012 when he played himself in Vanilla Ice Archive. His last television appearance was in 2016 when he played Tommy in Animals. He has ultimately transitioned almost the entirety of his career into production and direction, as he no longer feels that there are acting roles that quite fit him anymore. Since this transition out of acting, Shawn has amassed a net worth of nearly $30 million. Our earlier memory of the Wayans brother from the 90s holds a light to what we remember about the raunchy comedies he worked on in the 2000s. A lot of us found them funny because, well, it was the 2000s. But looking back, was it really that funny? Some people would disagree. Shawn's comedy style tends to be characterized by its irreverence, satire, and sometimes raunchy or edgy humor. Many people appreciate his comedic talent and enjoy his performances, especially fans of slapstick humor and parody, and those who enjoy comedies that push boundaries and challenge conventions. His work often appeals to a younger demographic and those who appreciate a more laid-back, sometimes politically incorrect style of humor. Critics would describe his humor as lowbrow, potty humor that shouldn't be enjoyed by greater society. Like many comedians who employ edgy or controversial humor, Shawn Wayans has also faced criticism. Some critics argue that his comedy can be crude or offensive, particularly in its portrayal of certain stereotypes or in its use of explicit language and sexual content. Critics of this style of comedy may find it distasteful, insensitive, or lacking in sophistication, not particularly because he portrayed it, but because he portrays the stereotypes without adding any substance to them. His humor depended pretty heavily on someone's ability to recognize a common stereotype, something Shawn himself does not deny. However, he never made efforts to critique or subvert the observation of the stereotype. Oftentimes, he ramped it up. Overall, opinions on Shawn Wayans' comedy style are subjective and depend largely on someone's individual tastes. While some may appreciate his brand of humor for its boldness and comedic timing, others find it off-putting or inappropriate. Shawn's brand of comedy had a noticeable impact on the landscape of comedy films of African-American casts in the 2000s. Not only did it impact what audience expectations of what comedy was, it impacted what industry professionals believed would be a profitable African-American cast comedy. When we review films from that era like How High and Soul Plane, we can see where the influence for their films either came from or led. On one hand, critics argue that raunchy comedy can perpetuate negative stereotypes about African Americans by emphasizing themes of promiscuity, vulgarity, and irresponsibility. Some may argue that this type of comedy reinforces harmful stereotypes and contributes to the marginalization or dehumanization of African American individuals. On the other hand, people who love raunchy comedy argue that it can serve as a form of empowerment or subversion, allowing African American comedians like Shawn Wayans to reclaim and redefine stereotypes through humor. They believe that comedy, even when raunchy, is a form of artistic expression and should not be held responsible for shaping broader perceptions of African Americans, especially Black women. One of his most iconic films is White Chicks. While a lot of people see the film as a genuine comedy, in fact, one of his best works, some people claim that the film is racist for perpetuating stereotypes about socialite Beverly Hills white women. To this criticism, he touted, "White Chicks isn't racist. It's a buddy cop comedy where two men are pretending to be white girls to take down a kidnapper. If you look at White Chicks, the jokes are on African American culture. So how is it racist? All the punchlines is us making fun of us in situations where white folks are around. It's not us making fun of white people." Shawn has progressed as a person since his years making raunchy comedies. Their most recent comedies have a lot less of a dependency on racial and sexual stereotypes. However, Marlon claims that he's willing to defend his old works because they were meant to be a commentary on cultural and racial dynamics at the time that they were made, and doesn't believe that they should be considered offensive in any way. Shawn agreed with his statement. Ursula Alberto, a personal fitness trainer and real estate investor, was born on February 26, 1968. She runs a social media account for her fitness personality. She married Shawn Wayans in 2004. Her relationship with Shawn is fairly private, but over the years there's been a lot of doubt cast on the strength of their connection. They no longer attend events together or post each other on social media. Because of this, it's rumored that they separated years ago and just chose not to share this information with the public. Shawn has 3 children with Ursula, Ilya, Layla, and Marlon, whom he named after his older brother. Ilya Wayans was born in Los Angeles, California, on August 10, 2003. In a social media post she made, she revealed that she's currently studying dentistry. Layla Wayans was born LA in 1999. Despite being given the chance to get her start on TV by her father, she decided that she would go into music instead. Her career in music has not been successful. She only released one song called Swaya in 2021, and it has few listens on Spotify and Deezer. Her official Spotify page has 0 monthly listeners. However, she continues to maintain her presence on social media through Instagram and TikTok. Their brother Marlon was born in 2006. He doesn't share information about his life on social media, and his parents have chosen to maintain his privacy by never sharing details about him. Click on this next video to dive deeper into the life of another Black Hollywood star. What's your favorite Shawn Wayans film?